Thank you, Zina. Good day, gentlemen. Don, I'll start with you. Obviously, I just want to go back to the announcement now. Before the World Cup squad was announced, I asked Dion Fourie what role will he be given, but he didn't give away too much detail. Now that the squad is announced, you have two out-and-out hookers. Will Dion fulfill the role of a third hooker role? And if so, when will he be tested at the international test match level? Because at the moment, we've got the trend of players being ruled out of the World Cup.
I think it's a good question. I think most probably we look at Dion that can maybe play the same role as a Skulk in the past in the 2019 World Cup. So, and obviously he had played at a high level, obviously at Super Rugby level, he played at hooker as well. So he's capable of doing that. But we still have the option also to call a guy like Joseph Weber in. Yeah, and he's definitely still part of the group of 38 players that's been announced. So yeah, he's only a flight away. So if we need him, we can always push on his button as well.
Any other questions? Please raise your hand. Leeton?
Thank you, Z. Hello, Daan. Hi, Jean. Daan, just for you, please. You guys obviously mixed and matched around the front row, reasonably sorted and everything. But are you looking at the next two games to get things going in the scrum department as well with the guys? It's been, I don't want to say there hasn't been reward, but I look at that Argentina game where the guys scrummed Argentina, but didn't necessarily get what you wanted. Do you feel this Wales game would be the perfect opportunity for that?
Yeah, I think as I said in the past, I think we tried a lot of combinations, and like we actually wanted to try to be fair to all the players and giving every guy a fair chance to make it into the group. And I think we played around a couple of combinations, but maybe going forward we will maybe settle down. And if yes, obviously, I mean, some games we get feeling sometimes very frustrated because there isn't a lot of scrums. So you don't have such a big influence as you would like to have in the game. But coming back to your question, I think obviously we want to get the reward always. It's not always going our way, but obviously we'll see how it goes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Zina. Daan, Jean, guys, good afternoon. Daan, when you look at the spate of injuries that took place across this weekend, I know that you'll know through your career that injuries are pretty much part of the game, but does it set some sort of fear factor rolling that in these games there are still significant World Cup injuries that are taking place?
I think if you look at all the other international franchises at the moment, I think in all the countries, there's a lot of injuries happening at the moment as well. Like I think the French team just lost Ntamak, their fly-off, who is actually the first choice fly-off. So it does happen, and obviously to us as well, we got one or two guys on the fringe coming back from injury, not in the group at the moment. We're still tracking them. So yeah, that will have an influence, but unfortunately, this is games that should be played in preparation for the World Cup. So yeah, I don't think we must fear, have a lot of fear going into the games, because we have got a good group. We got a lot of players. We can still come in. We haven't been in the group so far. So yeah, I mean, it's part of the game. Unfortunately, it is part of the game, like you said.
Thank you so much, Zina. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Zina, before I ask my question, can I just ask Jean? Jean, just for later, do you speak any Afrikaans, sir?
Ek is Afrikaans.
Wel, lekker soos 'n cracker.
I speak English well.
Ons dieselfde WhatsApp groep. Ons praat later. Dan can I just ask you a question, Dan? While you're on that note of injuries, sir, can I ask you, Jacques? I see Jacques Needham is on this group as well, and it's not your probably your choice or your position to mention the team selection here. But I need to ask you about players like Siya Kolisi, Oxenche, the likes of Jaden Hendricks, who hasn't played any rugby this past season so far. Is there any pressure on you guys as leadership to give them game time in this Wales test and possibly that All Black test going into the World Cup?
I don't think there's pressure on us to do that. I think maybe that's a question that you should keep for later in the week for Jacques or Rassie to answer. But how can I say, we actually try to be fair to them as well, and having them as well, getting them into a position to get in a better, how can I say, a stronger position to be, obviously, to be considered for the first test in the which is going to be Scotland. But yeah, as I said, let's let Jacques answer that one later this week.
Jean, I mean, when we
Yes.
in one of the press conferences leading up to the Rugby Championship, you spoke about how growing up you looked at people like Buckies, and that's who those are the guys that influence your rugby and also where you want to go. But how has the last few months been for you? I mean, you're somebody who played for a different nation 4 years ago, and now you're back in the Springboks, realizing your dream of playing in a World Cup. But is this something that you even imagined possible in the last few months and leading up to this?
Oh, absolutely not. To be honest with you, it's actually quite coincidental. I was having a conversation with a mate of mine about 4 months ago, saying that, I've had my chance at international rugby, and that's probably the end of it now. And that was my very realistic expectation of, my path forward, and I was quite happy with it. But obviously the call from Rassie was completely out of the blue. I had no prospects in my mind anyway of ever playing for the Springboks again. But yeah, look, an opportunity like this comes by, you can't really pass it off. And I think, to be fair, I think it's paid off so far. I've been very privileged to be part of, South African national team representing my country. And I mean, I said it before, I think when you play for the Springboks, you represent hope to a lot of people, and to be part of something so special and so significant is it's really been an honor.
And enjoying the lovely Welsh summer weather down in Cardiff. But no, Dylan James here from Wales Online. Nice to chat to you. So two quick questions. So Jean, so we can kick off with you. What have you made of Wales so far? Obviously 2 tests against England.
I think if you bring all these individual players together under a guy like Warren Gatland, that's a recipe for a really good national side. So Wales have always been good and competitive on the international level, and just from the two last games, I'd say arguably you have 2 very good results. You've got a good win at home and then a very narrow loss away from home. So obviously it's a very threatening side, and we'll be looking to put in our best performance this weekend.
Thank you very much for answering twice as well. Dan, second question to you. So which Wales players have impressed you in the opening 2 test matches?
Yeah, how can I say? Basically, the whole team's performance. We were impressed by the whole team's performance, because if you think now, they had a good result last week and maybe this week as well. They got very close to have a good result as well. So I think actually the way they play, and we know also that, I mean, like John said, the team's been coached by Warren Gatland. They're always very tough to play, and they're always well prepared. So yeah, there's not really specific ones. We look at them as a team, and they had a really good performance the last 2 weeks.
As a guys, thanks, Zina. Don, maybe just for you, Wales has been the type of team that in the past, especially under Warren Gatland, has almost sort of taken you guys to the gutters. It's been very much an arm wrestle every single time against them. Do you expect that to be the same thing this coming weekend? Do you expect them to go back to almost to the Warren ball type of play that they always try and play against you guys?
Yeah, I think so, 100%. I think the way that they play, if you look back now, the last 4 or 5 times that we played against them in Wales, I think they beat us 4 times out of 5, which I suppose they will definitely use that as a motivation. And then I think, it was always, like you said, it's really an arm wrestle against them. The way they play, World Cup semi-final. We only got it right in the very last 4 minutes when you got a penalty and beat them 1916, if you're referring back to them. So, it's going to be definitely a well-coached team. They're well prepared. It's obviously, and they've been in a very, very tough camp apparently. So, yeah, I think they're in fine form, and we definitely need to pitch up if we want to have some good results here.
Thanks, Zina. My question is for John. John, just how have you settled within the box setup? And just also again, how is the synergy between the back row guys, and also what are some of the targets that you want to hit this weekend against Wales?
Well, I'd like to think I've settled in quite well. I think other players and the coaches will probably be a better judge of that, but I feel like I've integrated quite well into the squad. I know a lot of the guys from back when I still played in South Africa. Guys like Dwayne, Kitsy, Franz. I played with all of them. Dion. I've played with Damien. Obviously, I've got a really good relationship with RG. Play with him at Munster. So I've been able to settle in quite well. And to the second part of your question, we don't really set ourselves targets in terms of metrics per weekend. I think for us it's more just we want to impose ourselves as a pack, and I mean that's our tactic all the time. So there's nothing really specific that's changing for this weekend. We're gonna play our game plan, and we're gonna try and pose ourselves, and we'll see how they deal with that.
Thank you so much. Dan, kan ek net vra dan? Is net in Afrikaans vra net ter opsomming. Wat hoop julle om wyser te word in hierdie wedstryd teen Wallis? Natuurlik ons sien dit as 'n of baie van die mense sien dit as 'n opwarmingswedstryd. Maar wat wil julle as 'n wêreldbeker groep wyser word in hierdie wedstryde? Veral in ag genome soos jy in Engels genoem het, jy het 'n paar spelers wat nog wedstrydfiks moet word. En John kan ek vir jou vra net soos jy in Engels genoem het. Jy verduidelik is 'n besondere voorreg vir jou om weer vir jou land uit te draf, veral op hierdie vlak by 'n wêreldbeker. Beskryf gewoon net daai gevoel vir jou nou, jy uiteindelik daai kol kry en nou om deel van hierdie wêreldbeker groep vir Suid-Afrika te wees. Baie dankie, Zina.
Ja, ek dink wat ons wys word, natuurlik wil ons in ons sisteme wat ons het in plek en waarmee ons op hierdie stadium werk en wat ons doen, ou natuurlik beter word in alles wat jy doen, huidiglik, sonder om na enige taktiek te verwys. Ek dink ons probeer regtig waar hard na onsself kyk op hierdie stadium. Natuurlik het ons hulle in ag genome. Maar ek dink op hierdie stadium ons fokus op wat ons kan doen. Ons fokus letterlik op die volgende oefening en ons kyk nie heeltemal te ver in die wêreldbeker al in nie. Ons fokus letterlik op Wallis. Ek dink Wallis is 'n topspan. Ek dink as jy fisies wil meet teen 'n span in die wêreld, dan moet jy teen hulle kan meet, want hulle se span, soos jy sê, iemand het net nou verwys na iemand, hy vat jou regtig na die gutters toe en hulle is 'n topspan. Jy sal moet bereid wees om op te daag die dag as jy enige resultaat teen hulle wil hê.
Van my kant af net om, jy weet net herhaal wat ek vroeër gesê het. Ek dink vir my is dit 'n ongelooflike eer om deel te wees van die Springbok span. Dit was nie regtig iets wat op die kaarte was vir my 'n paar maande terug nie. Ek dink as jy my gevra het toe, sou ek vir jou gesê het jy's laf. Maar jy weet hier is ek nou jy weet na daai oproep van Rassie af, ek dink dit is al 2,5 amper 3 maande terug en jy weet hier is ek nou ingeneem in die Springbok groep vir die wêreldbeker en ek dink in daai opsig is dit 'n ongelooflike voorreg om my land te verteenwoordig op hierdie vlak en op daai punt ek dink die Springbokke is 'n span wat hoop aan baie miljoene mense in Suid-Afrika verteenwoordig en vir baie mense hoop gee. Wat is dit goed gaan natuurlik, maar ek dink vir die algemeen is dit net dis 'n punt op samekoms, jy weet te flippen, jy weet wat ek bedoel. Maar ja, dis net ek dink is 'n regtig groot voorreg om deel te wees van so iets wat so groot is vir soveel mense.
Jean, now that there's still a bit of time to go until the World Cup, but as a player, how do you focus on a warm-up game as compared to a test match that will generally have a lot at stake?
I think it's very simple. Everything's at stake every weekend. I don't think we can look at any game over the next what's it, I think 10 or 11 weeks as just another game. I think when you're playing for the Springboks at international test level, like there's no, oh, this is just another warm-up game. Every weekend is, the next biggest match of your life. And I think that's the way it should be regarded, and I think that's the way it is regarded by all the players. We don't have a lackadaisical kind of outlook on, oh yeah, this is just another warm-up game before the real competition starts. This is almost, this is the start of our World Cup, basically. Any game from now onwards is, it's the biggest game.
Jean, Daan het vroeër daarvan gepraat oor daai beserings, maar net in die spelerskamp self. Is daar enige gesprekke tussen julle om net vir mekaar te sê, wees rustig daaroor, ons gaan uit om te speel, moenie oor daai beserings dink nie, ons weet is kort voor 'n wêreldbeker en julle het nog 2 opwarmwedstryde, maar is daar soort van daai gesprekke tussen julle om net uit te gaan en te doen wat julle moet doen en kalm te bly met die laaste 2 wedstryde?
Wel, ek dink, om eerlik te wees, dis maar beserings is maar deel van rugby. Dis nie, ongelukkig is nou nie iets wat enige van ons kan voorspel of jy weet eers verbied nie. Dit is maar net, dit is deel van die game. En dit is maar realiteit in rugby. Mense gaan beserings opdoen en jy weet, obviously, natuurlijk is nog gesprekke tussen ons en die afrigters net in die groter span om net te sê hoe die realiteit is van ons gaan beserings opdoen en dit is maar ongelukkig hoe rugby werk en 1 of 2 van ons gaan uitval en dan is daar 'n groep van, jy weet, 9 ouens wat ook saam met ons baie hard gewerk het en ook deel geword het van die groep en ook deel was van al die voorbereiding tot en met laasweek en van hulle in hierdie week ook in. So die volgende ou is dan daar om, jy weet, om die fakkel te vat en aan te beweeg. Ek dink elke ou gaan maar net sy bes doen om die land te verteenwoordig en dan daarna gaan dit maar 'n kwessie wees van as jy 'n besering opdoen, dan is dit maar ongelukkig volgende ou in die lyn. En dit is maar hoe dit werk. By die vorige wêreldbeker het ons nog 2 ouens verloor en so het die volgende ou ook ingetree en sy werk tot die beste van sy vermoë gedoen en ons het met sukses uitgeloop. So jy weet, 1 besering of 2 beserings is dalk nie die einde van die wêreld nie. Ek dink is dit belangrik dat almal weet, jy weet, hulle gaan elke naweek hulle beste gee. Geen nie om wat nie.
Ons kan dink sommer Zine. Dan weer eens, ek verwag nie jy moet praat oor spankeuses vir my nie. Dit is natuurlik Jacques se verpligting dit, maar kan ek jou tog vra, in jou opinie, hoe lyk julle kaptein op die oefenveld? Is hy gereed om op toetsvlak rugby te speel? Is hy gereed om kontak te maak?
Ja, Percy, weet jy wat, ons het 'n spankaptein en basies het ons nog ander kapteins ook in die span. So om vir jou noodseker met wie verwys jy, watter een van die kapteins verwys jy nie?
Spesifiek se koalisie dan.
Okay. Ja nee, uit laasweek het hy voluit saam met ons geoefen en natuurlik kom hy ou nie terug en speel 80 minute sommer van die start af nie, maar ek dink Sia is in 'n baie goeie plek. Hy het al die kontaks gevat en natuurlik wat vir my baie belangrik is, hy het saam geskram en sy alles daar gegee soos wat ons daar verwag. So in my departement is ek baie gelukkig met wat ek gesien het sover en hopelik kan hy vir ons 'n groot bydrae lewer indien dalk nie hierdie week en dalk volgende week. Mens weet nie wanneer gaan hy losgelaat word nie. Ek dink net dis een van die tipe honde wat 'n ou wil hê as hy deur losgelaat word.